You think being kind makes you a good person, and you're right. But what if I told you that the exact same trait that makes you compassionate, empathetic, and caring is also sending a beacon signal to some of the most dangerous people on the planet? What if your niceness isn't just being taken advantage of, but is actually being weaponized against you by individuals who see your goodness as nothing more than an opportunity? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why psychopaths, narcissists, and manipulators don't just tolerate nice people, they actively hunt them. And you might be their perfect target. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Think about the last time someone took advantage of your kindness. Maybe they borrowed money and never paid you back. Maybe they dumped their emotional baggage on you repeatedly while never being there when you needed them. Maybe they crossed your boundaries again and again, and you let them because you didn't want to seem mean or difficult. Now here's the question that should terrify you. What if that wasn't random? What if they chose you specifically because of how nice you are? There's a specific type of niceness that doesn't just attract takers, it attracts predators. And before you think I'm being dramatic, let me explain the difference. A taker is someone who's generally selfish or thoughtless, annoying, sure, but not dangerous. A predator is someone who systematically identifies, targets, and exploits people for their own gain. They're not just passively accepting your kindness, they're actively seeking it out, testing it, and using it to control you. And the trait that makes you vulnerable to them isn't kindness itself. It's something much more specific, something that most nice people don't even realize they're doing. The trait is called pathological accommodation, and if you have it, you're in danger. Pathological accommodation is when you prioritize other people's comfort, needs, and feelings above your own to such an extreme degree that you lose the ability to protect yourself. It's not the same as being considerate or generous. Those are healthy traits. Pathological accommodation is when you can't say no, even when saying yes hurts you. It's when you feel guilty for having boundaries. It's when you apologize for things that aren't your fault just to keep the peace. It's when you suppress your own anger, your own needs, your own truth because you're terrified of being perceived as difficult, selfish, or mean. And here's why this matters. Psychopaths and narcissists have a sixth sense for this trait. They can spot pathological accommodators from a mile away, and once they've identified you, they know exactly how to exploit you. Let me tell you how they do it. It starts with something called boundary testing. When a manipulator first meets you, they're not interested in getting to know the real you. They're running experiments. They'll make a small, unreasonable request, maybe asking you to do them a favor that's slightly outside normal social boundaries. A healthy person would say, "Actually, that doesn't work for me," or just politely decline. But a pathological accommodator will say yes, even if it's inconvenient, even if it makes them uncomfortable, because they've been conditioned to believe that being a good person means always helping others. That's strike one. The manipulator now knows you're a potential target, so they escalate. They'll push a little harder next time. Maybe they'll show up late repeatedly and see if you complain. Maybe they'll share an overly personal problem and see if you rush to fix it. Maybe they'll subtly insult you and watch if you defend yourself or laugh it off. Each time you accommodate, each time you suppress your discomfort, each time you prioritize their needs over your own dignity, you're confirming to them that you're exactly what they're looking for, someone who won't fight back. And here's the most insidious part. You think you're being kind. You think you're being the bigger person. You think you're demonstrating empathy and emotional maturity. But what you're actually doing is training a predator that you are safe to exploit. Now, I need you to understand something crucial. Psychopaths and narcissists aren't sitting in dark rooms plotting how to ruin your life. It's much worse than that. For them, exploiting others is as natural as breathing. They don't feel guilt about it. They don't lose sleep over it. They genuinely believe they're entitled to take from you because in their mind, if you're dumb enough to give, you deserve to be taken from. Your niceness isn't seen as a virtue to them. It's seen as weakness. And weakness to a predator is opportunity. Let me paint you a picture of what this looks like in real life. Sarah is a genuinely kind person. She volunteers. She's always there for her friends. She prides herself on being low drama and easy to get along with. She meets Marcus at work. Marcus is charming, confident, funny. He love bombs her with attention, compliments, and affection. Sarah feels seen, valued, special. But slowly, things start to shift. Marcus starts making comments about her friends, suggesting they're not good enough for her. Sarah feels uncomfortable but says nothing because she doesn't want to seem paranoid. Marcus starts showing up unannounced at her apartment. Sarah finds it a bit intrusive but tells herself it's romantic. Marcus asks to borrow money. Sarah hesitates but agrees because he seems genuinely stressed, and she wants to be supportive. 6 months later, Sarah is isolated from her friends, financially supporting Marcus and walking on eggshells around his mood swings. And the craziest part, she still thinks she's the problem. She thinks if she was just a better girlfriend, more understanding, more patient, things would improve. This is what pathological accommodation does. It makes you complicit in your own exploitation. Before we go further, if this video is hitting a nerve, if you're recognizing patterns in your own life, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is dedicated to helping you understand the psychology behind manipulation, control, and toxic relationships so you can protect yourself. And trust me, what I'm about to tell you next is going to change how you see every relationship in your life. So why do nice people develop pathological accommodation in the first place? It almost always starts in childhood. If you grew up in an environment where your needs were consistently dismissed, where expressing anger or disappointment was punished, where you had to manage a parent's emotions to stay safe, you learned a critical survival skill: make yourself smaller so others can be comfortable. As a child, this might have literally kept you safe, but as an adult, this same trait makes you a target. Here's what most people don't understand. Healthy kindness comes from a place of abundance. You give because you want to, because you have enough to share, because it feels good. Pathological accommodation comes from a place of fear. You give because you're terrified of what will happen if you don't. You're afraid of conflict, of rejection, of being seen as bad. And manipulators can smell that fear like sharks smell blood in water. There's a specific dynamic that plays out over and over again. The pathological accommodator believes that if they're just nice enough, patient enough, understanding enough, they'll eventually earn respect, love, and reciprocity. The manipulator knows this and uses it against them. They'll take and take and take, and every time the nice person thinks about pushing back, the manipulator will do just enough to keep them hooked. A small apology, a moment of kindness, a promise to change, just enough to reset the cycle. And the nice person, so desperate to believe in the goodness of others, convinces themselves that this time will be different. It won't be, because the fundamental problem isn't that you're not nice enough. It's that you're nice to people who see niceness as exploitability. Now let's talk about the specific behaviors that signal to predators that you're a pathological accommodator, because if you recognize these in yourself, you need to start changing them immediately. First, over-apologizing. If you say sorry for things that aren't your fault, if you apologize for taking up space, for having needs, for existing in a way that might inconvenience someone, you're advertising vulnerability. Second, over-explaining and over-justifying. If someone asks you to do something and you can't, a simple "I can't" should be enough. But pathological accommodators will launch into a 15-minute explanation of why they can't, desperately trying to prove they're not a bad person for saying no. This tells manipulators that your no is negotiable. Third, prioritizing harmony over honesty. If you regularly suppress your true feelings to avoid conflict, if you laugh off disrespect, if you minimize your own hurt to keep things smooth, you're showing predators that you value their comfort more than your own dignity. Fourth, and this is a big one, reflexive caretaking. If someone shares a problem with you and your immediate instinct is to fix it, to take responsibility for their emotions, to sacrifice your own time and energy to make them feel better, you're demonstrating that you'll prioritize their needs above your own. Manipulators love this because it means they never have to take responsibility for themselves. They can just offload everything onto you, and you'll handle it. Fifth, difficulty receiving. If someone gives you a compliment and you immediately deflect it, if someone offers to help you and you refuse because you don't want to be a burden, if you're more comfortable giving than receiving, it signals that you don't believe you're worthy of care. And if you don't believe you're worthy of care, a manipulator will treat you accordingly. Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. If you keep attracting toxic people into your life, it's not bad luck. It's not that you're cursed. It's that something about the way you're showing up in the world is broadcasting to predators that you're available for exploitation. And until you change that signal, you'll keep attracting the same type of people over and over again. So what do you do about it? How do you stop being a target without losing your kindness, your compassion, your fundamental goodness? The answer is boundaries, but not the kind of boundaries most people think of. I'm not talking about some polite, gentle, "I'd prefer if you didn't" boundary. I'm talking about walls. I'm talking about non-negotiable lines in the sand that you will defend even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if it causes conflict, even if someone calls you selfish or mean. Because here's what you need to understand. Manipulators don't respect soft boundaries. They don't care about your feelings or your gentle requests. The only thing they respect is consequences. And if you're not willing to enforce consequences, your boundaries are just suggestions. If you're still watching, drop a comment below and tell me one boundary you're going to start enforcing this week. It doesn't have to be huge. It can be as simple as, "I'm not going to apologize for things that aren't my fault," or "I'm not going to answer texts immediately just because someone expects me to." Accountability is powerful, and I want to see you take this seriously. Let me tell you what happened to Sarah. She finally hit a breaking point. After 2 years of being drained emotionally, financially, and psychologically, she ended the relationship with Marcus. And you know what he did? He moved on to someone else within 2 weeks because she was never special to him. She was convenient, she was useful, and the moment she stopped being useful, she became irrelevant. That's how predators operate. You are not a person to them. You are a resource. The hardest part of recovering from this dynamic is forgiving yourself, because once you see it, once you understand how you were exploited, the shame is overwhelming. You feel stupid, you feel weak. You wonder how you didn't see it sooner. But I need you to hear this. Being kind is not a character flaw. Being compassionate is not a weakness. The problem was never your goodness. The problem was that you were taught to give your goodness away to people who didn't deserve it. Your kindness is valuable. It should be protected, cherished, and given only to people who reciprocate it, not to people who weaponize it. So let me leave you with this. The next time someone pushes your boundaries, notice what you feel. If your first instinct is guilt, fear, or the need to justify yourself, that's your pathological accommodation talking, and that's your sign to do the opposite of what you feel. Say no. Don't explain. Don't apologize. Just no. And watch what happens, because the people who truly care about you will respect it. And the people who don't, well, now you know exactly who they are. Stop being nice to people who see your kindness as weakness. Start being kind to yourself by protecting your energy, your time, and your heart from those who would exploit it. That's not selfish. That's survival. Thank you for watching.